Asin, we are on live.
Good morning, one and all. Before we begin, allow me first to read out the flow of the program. We will begin with the welcome address, followed by a brief introduction and a video on our eminent speaker. Then we shall invite the esteemed speaker for his presentation. After the presentation, we shall request our guest speaker to answer a few questions raised by the attendees in the Q&A segment. Then we shall conclude the segment with a word of thanks. There's one quality that one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to possess it, said Napoleon Hill.
What a fantastic quote to begin the session. And so I agree by complimenting yours by the words of Plutarch. I quote, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be ignited." I unquote.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Avenir 2021, a global virtual career guidance program launched by Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir under the aegis of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. On behalf of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, I, Asin of Class 10, and
I, Ishan of Class 8,
from ISWK, take the proud privilege of expressing our profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the altruistic and noble benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. We, the Indian expatriates, are fortunate indeed to enjoy a world-class quality of life in a country that is modern, peaceful, and full of scenic beauty. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and may this nation experience peace and everlasting prosperity.
it gives me immense pleasure to welcome the Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman, Dr. Sivakumar Manikam. We wholeheartedly welcome dignitaries from the Ministry of Education, officials from the Indian Embassy, a cordial and courteous welcome to all the members of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. A hearty welcome to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the President of ISWK Management Committee, and other members of the School Management Committee of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir. A heartfelt welcome to principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, HOTs, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity across all the globe. I am extremely delighted to welcome students from all over the world, parents, grandparents, invitees, and our well-wishers. We cordially welcome distinguished members from the business community, members of the educational cell. Thank you one and all for your benign presence here this morning.
I remind myself every morning, nothing I say this day will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn, I must do it by listening. The breeze this morning has secrets to tell you, as it is indeed a special one. It is with sheer joy and great pride that I take the task of introducing our guest speaker today, a dynamic motivational speaker and performance coach who has fueled positive change for international audiences, from students to business leaders. Without further ado, let's welcome our most enterprising, devoted, creative, and passionate Mr. Simerjeet Singh. Mr. Simerjeet Singh is an international youth motivational speaker and career guidance expert who helps youngsters achieve their highest potential. He chose to pursue this career after spending 8 years in 4 countries in the hotel industry. A highly sought-after keynote speaker, Mr. Simerjeet Singh relies on his extensive international experience in bringing engaging, inspiring, and thought-provoking keynotes on leadership, innovation, change, and self-growth to your conferences across the globe. Born in a small border town in Punjab, India, Mr. Simerjeet's story is one of sheer willpower and determination to overcome all obstacles and reach his goals. He was raised by parents who encouraged him to have dreams and aspirations, which helped him succeed against all odds. Today is his favorite day of the week, and now is his favorite best place to be. He believes no dream is too big, no place is too small, and no time is better than now. Aligned to the objective of catering to the diverse needs of our student community, the theme for Avenir 2021 is designed weaving in the 9 multiple intelligences among humans, which can be compared to the 9 gems that adorn a priceless necklace. Peace of Fire on day 8 is related to interpersonal intelligence, those who possess skills to see from others' perspectives, have empathy and the ability to counsel and cooperate, can spot high career aspects as a counselor, salesperson, politician, or an entrepreneur. And the gemstone aligned to Mr. Simerjeet's personality is the blue sapphire. First, let us watch a prelude.
In one defining moment, the universe emerged out of nothingness like a bright idea. And so has each one of us, born into this world unique and gifted. A masterpiece cast like never before and never after. A magnificent work of art. And each one of us an artist too, eager to paint the canvas of life. Remember as a child, you woke up each morning full of wonderful ideas and dreams. Dreams where everything was possible. You wanted to change the world and you believed that you could. Believed in superheroes and believed you could be one. And then it all slowly slipped away. But that does not mean that superheroes do not exist. These heroes stepped out of nothingness into greatness. They were ordinary folks who wanted to make a difference, who believed in their dreams. They were just like you and me, except where everyone else saw the rubble, they saw a palace standing. And when everyone else was enveloped with the darkness of self-doubt, they saw light within.
I am Simerjeet Singh, and I believe that the same light flickers in you and in me. I also believe that you have everything you need to reach the pinnacle of your success. And I'm here to tell you that the only person standing between you and your success, between you and your dreams, is you. And it can all change in the moment the voice inside you says, yes, I can. Yes, I can live with passion and purpose. Yes, I can lead. Yes, I can make a difference. I am the artist and the world is my canvas. I am the superhero I once believed in as a child. And that defining moment is now.
That was indeed a splendid video. I would like to request our worthy audience to kindly post their queries in the chat box. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Mr. Simerjeet Singh. The platform is all yours, sir.
Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. The students have done a fantastic job introducing me, setting the context for today's discussion, and the faculty and the teachers and the management and the sponsors, everyone at the Indian school Al Wadi Al Kabir deserves a huge round of applause. Yes, please join me in typing in the chat section if you have access to the chat. Thank you, team. Hashtag Evinir21. Yeah, they deserve our thanks for putting together a marathon career guidance event, which I believe is the 9th or the 8th day today. And students have had access to some wonderful guest speakers from across the world, from pilots to police officers to doctors to folks from different parts of the world who've been sharing their wisdom. I think this is a once in a life opportunity for every student right now to join this live career guidance program and discover their true potential. Yes, I can see the messages in the chat box now. Harvinder Bagga, Ambika, and others. Yes, everyone. Team Evinir 2021, they deserve our applause and our thank you. So type in the chat box, please. Thank you, Team Evinir 21. Very good. It's a pleasure to be here among everybody who's tuning in, all the young students, their parents, teachers, counselors from across the world, from different parts of the world. And the title of my brief interaction, followed by an in-depth Q&A with you today, would be Tuning In into Your Inner GPS. We are all familiar with the GPS we have in our vehicles, but I want to talk about tuning in into our inner GPS, the one that is inside us, the voice inside that we don't often listen to. And that's the entire objective of this interaction here today, is to help young people develop the courage to tune into their inner voice, to tune into their inner preferences, to tune into their intelligences, their gifts, right? Please join me in taking a deep breath in, inhale, and say out loud, I am gifted in special ways. I am gifted in special ways. Yes, you all are. You are gifted in your own special way. All you have to do, my young friends, is you have to learn to unwrap the gifts, okay? You have to learn to unwrap the gift. And what I mean unwrapping is the conditioning, the negative conditioning, the negative beliefs, whatever might be preventing you from getting in touch with your higher self, you have to let go of that. And that is when you will unwrap your gift and present it to the world. And I think you should. That's when you'll be the happiest, right? Think about, so if we talk about Dr. Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, he says there's linguistic intelligence, there's spatial intelligence, there is musical intelligence, there's mathematical intelligence. You are the happiest when you are using your gifts. Yes or no? There are days when you are putting your gifts to good use, and that's when you feel most fulfilled, most confident. And that's my message here to you today, is get in touch with your gifts. Number one, remember all of you are gifted in your own special way. And number two, for you to get in touch with your special gifts and to present it to the world. That's how we can all create a better world, right? So tuning in into your GPS is the subject of my discussion. And the very first thing that we all should focus on, every youngster, or even in, a youngster of my age or older than me, we should all first ask ourselves this question: where do I want to go in life, right? So you see, the GPS is a wonderful invention. Yes or no? It's a wonderful invention. But it will ask from you this one simple detail, and that is this: the GPS will not suggest where you should go, right? You have to type in an address. You have to tell the GPS where you want to go, and then the GPS will give you turn-by-turn directions, right? We don't have artificial technology, artificial intelligence to that level that the GPS can make suggestions. I feel you should be going to a Chinese restaurant today, or how about I take you to a nice hill station for a little break? The GPS does not have the capability to do that, but it does have the capability to take you turn by turn precisely to where you want to go after you put in the destination. And that is the most important thing that we should all do, not just once. This is not a one-off activity, but again and again, clarifying, what do I actually want in my life? What do I want to achieve? Let me show you this little black diary that I use. I call it my "What do I really want in my life" diary. Okay? I suggest all of us should have a diary like that. Keep a journal like that, in which you sit down and write that if God Almighty would appear in front of me and say, "Child, tell me what you want," and I will just present this, say, "Here, right? These are all my desires in here, and I'm ready for that." But jokes apart, what this does is it helps you clarify what you want, and your desires are going to change. Your dreams are going to change. Your goals are going to change. As you grow, your goals will grow. Your desires will grow, right? And that's absolutely fine. But unless you don't know where you want to go, the chances are you will not get there. Please take a deep breath in with me and type this in the chat box. Clarity is a superpower. Type it in right now, please, so I can see it. Clarity is a superpower. If you have clarity about what you want in life, you're in the tiny minority 1% of people. Clarity is a superpower. Fantastic. Clarity is a superpower. If you know what you want, you're in the minority 1% of human beings, because the majority of human beings, they don't know what they want. I'm reminded of this beautiful passage from Alice in Wonderland. If you've read it, the conversation between the Cheshire Cat and Alice, who was a little bit confused when she entered the forest, and there were so many paths, there were so many different directions. So she asked the Cheshire Cat, would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here? Okay, listen to this carefully. Would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here? The cat replied, that depends a good deal on where you want to go, said the cat. I don't care very much, said Alice. Then said the cat, it doesn't matter which way you go. Alice interjected and said, as long as I get somewhere. To which the cat responded, that you will get somewhere, right? And think about that for a second. Most of us are moving through life in a similar mindset. We say, okay, I'll just take any path right now. I want to get somewhere. I want to be a somebody, right? That you will be. But the thing is, do you know where do you want to go? Do you know what you want out of your life? Have you spent time clarifying this? Have you spent time tuning into your inner voice? This is the single most powerful exercise that you can do to accelerate your career growth, is to sit down with yourself and find out, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing the most? What would I like to do in 5 years? And please remember this, you're not tied to this decision. What you write today, you're not like married to this decision for the rest of your life. You can change and you can evolve every couple of years. You can review and say, this is not working out for me. I'd like to do something different. But please spend time on figuring out where do you want to go. And as you do that, here are a couple of points I want you to keep in consideration. Number one, think big, please. Everybody, deep breath in right now. And say out loud, I will think big. I will think beyond barriers. I will think big. You see, where you are today, my friends, is a result of your previous thoughts. Agree? Where you are today is an outcome of your previous thinking. Where you will be tomorrow depends upon what you think today. Therefore, today, think big, please. Don't let any barriers hold you back. The only real barriers that exist are the ones that are in your mind. The second thing you should keep in mind is, don't ask what the world needs. This is a big mistake youngsters do. Let me find out what's trending right now. What is in fashion right now? If it's fashionable to be a chef, I'll be a chef. If it's fashionable to be a motivational speaker, I'll be a motivational speaker. Oh, being a pilot is really very fashionable. I like the lifestyle of pilots and I do that. Wrong strategy, I say, wrong strategy. I'm reminded of the words of the famous American author, Dr. Howard Thurman, who said, don't ask what the world needs. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive. And then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive. And then go and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. You see, my friends, there are a lot of zombies walking around, okay? The world is full of zombies they're living in their world of digital distractions. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they want. So you don't want to join the crowd. What if everyone in the crowd is wrong? You want to figure out, what am I good at? What makes me come alive? What fills me up with energy? And do that. The third thing is, success, money, and fame are outcomes. You don't chase them. You can't pursue them. They should ensue. Learn to identify the difference. You cannot pursue happiness. You cannot pursue success. You cannot pursue fame. You go and do what you want to do, and these will be the outcomes if you work with a service mindset. If you devote your life to making humanity better as an entrepreneur, as a public servant, as an officer, whatever field that you choose, as a speaker, influencer, writer, whatever you do, if your goal goes beyond money and fame and recognition, success and fame and money and all of these beautiful things, they will come to you. This is my promise to you. Next one is know your why. Why would I want to do this? Why? What drives me? What is the driving force? Is it money? Is it fame? Is it because I enjoy this? And I tell you, for everybody who's confused right now about making the right career choices, pick the game that you love, okay? Fall in love with that game and devote your life to it. Every muscle, every nerve, every breath that you take should be focused on loving that game and improving yourself at it. What game will that be? This is what you have to find out. And then you will only find out through exploration, right? And I'll tell you what, you were all born explorers, yes or no? Some of you don't. If you don't agree with me, yeah, you should ask your parents. You were all born explorers, doing mischiefs and trying things out. That's part of human nature. We are born explorers. We were born to break barriers.
You're naughty.
Our little Superman here. Will he make it? We'll find out. He deserves a round of applause, doesn't he? Now, did you see that smile on his face? That's called achievement motivation. That is the positive feeling that we have when we break a barrier, when we break a mindset limitation, right? You were all born explorers. Let this be your next affirmation in the chat box. Take a deep breath in, inhale, and then type in the chat box, please. Exploration comes naturally to me. Type it in now. Exploration comes naturally to me, right? Fear is not natural. Exploration is natural. Curiosity is natural. Exploration comes naturally to me. Therefore, explore. That's the only way to find out what you're good at and what you will enjoy doing. My next point is seek inspiration, but not maps. Very important. A lot of you will ask for, sir, give me a step-by-step manual of how I can become a successful person. And guess what? That manual does not exist. Therefore, seek inspiration, but not maps. Maps do not exist. This is the next thing I want you to type in the chat box, please. Maps do not exist. There are no maps. There is inspiration, yes. There is guidance, yes. But there are no maps. Maps do not exist. Please type this in the chat box now. Therefore, I'm reminded of what the Sufi philosopher Rumi said. He said, do not be obsessed with the stories that come before you. Learn to unfold your own myth. Do not be obsessed by the stories that come before you. Learn to unfold your own myth. Learn to unfold your own story. You don't have to be obsessed with what has come before you, right? So seek inspiration, but not maps. Don't go out. If you want to be a pilot, for example, don't go and speak to a pilot and say, can you give me a step-by-step instruction? What worked for him or her 20 years ago or 10 years ago might not work for you. Therefore, learn from everyone, seek inspiration, but don't wait for maps because they do not exist. So this was my number one input to you today as you go about exploring your highest potential and getting in touch with your inner GPS is to find out where I want to go. Will you spend time on this, please? Is that a yes from everyone? Spend time on figuring out what do I really want, right? And understand you are not bound with those options, but have some clarity. Did you ever go to a restaurant and you were all confused, standing in front of the menu items, let's say at a KFC or a McDonald's or a Haldiram's, and there are like 100 things on the menu, and you're very confused, and you're sitting there figuring out what should I order, and from behind you comes a person who exactly knows what he or she wants, and he says, "Can I have a double chicken burger with cheese and with a Pepsi or something?" And boom, and you're like wondering, hey, I was waiting before you, but the other guy's telling you, no. Of course, you were waiting before me, but you did not know what you wanted, right? People who have clarity, they have a superpower and they are able to go faster than others. Therefore, clarity, my friends, is something that you should work on acquiring. So that was my number one. My number two is start now. Yes, everybody take a deep breath in once again, please. And type this in the chat box now. I will start with what I have. Type it in, please. I will start with what I have. Start with what you have. Start today. You want to be a speaker? Maybe go out to your neighborhood school or college or somewhere or residential area or to the park where other kids are playing. Try your public speaking skills there. You want to be a singer? Start today. Take your phone, move the camera towards the front, record your song and post it on Instagram. Do it now. Start somewhere. That's what we all have to do. Perfection is a disease that you should stay away from. If you want to succeed, you should learn to laugh at yourself. If you want to succeed, you should learn to laugh at yourself, okay? So in the journey of starting right now, a couple of points. Number one, be driven by curiosity, not by fear. Fear is the wrong choice. Fear is the thing that will hold you back from your greatness. Curiosity did not kill the cat. The cat was framed on wrong charges. Ignorance killed the cat, okay? So I know we're always taught curiosity killed the cat. No. Curiosity was framed on wrong charges. It was bailed out later on. The actual problem was ignorance, right? So don't let fear hold you back. Let curiosity drive you further. Say, okay, I would like this new field out there. I want to learn more about artificial intelligence or machine learning or SpaceX or, biochemistry or motivational speaking or life coaching or whatever happens to be. Let me go and talk to someone who can tell me how that works, okay? So be driven by curiosity, not by fear. And the next thing is distractions are dangerous. Once you start moving, your number one reason that'll hold you back is distractions. Type this in the chat box, please. Distractions are dangerous. Distractions can be deadly. Not only dangerous, distractions can be deadly. Distractions are dangerous and they can be deadly because they'll put you off track, right? And social media is one of the biggest distractions out there. Distractions are dangerous. Distractions can be deadly. And then in the journey of starting right now, understand you will make mistakes. You will embarrass yourselves. You will not be perfect when you start, but it's important that you start. Your first song will not be perfect. The first cake that you bake will not be perfect. The first speech that you give will not be perfect. If you're a pilot, I do hope your first flight is perfect. There's no margin of error there, right, guys? But learn to laugh at yourself. When we had to reorient to make these presentations in a virtual format, we made a lot of mistakes. We were very proud. We bought a new mic and we did not realize that mic had a couple of settings that we had to change. You can hear my sound right now. Some of you might even appreciate my sound. I thank you very much for that. You know how I sound like, but I'm going to play a tiny small video clip for you when this mic had a malfunction and more than 4,000 students across different universities in India were listening to it. Now, when I look back at it, this is what I do. I learn to laugh at myself. Don't take yourself too seriously, guys.
एक दो कारण है सबसे पहला that ये students they are about to embark on a brand new journey. ये अपनी लाइफ का एक नया चैप्टर शुरू करने वाले हैं और कहते हैं अगर आगाज अच्छा हो तो अंजाम भी अच्छा होता है, अगर शुरुआत अच्छी हो तो एंड भी अच्छा होता है। सो इस आगाज का, इस शुरुआत का आज मैं हिस्सा हूं। आई फील वेरी ऑनर्ड, आई फील इट्स अ प्रिविलेज, और इसको एक
Now, that's not me. I sounded like the chipmunks there because the mic had two different settings. And we did not realize until the 45-minute speech was over that there was something major wrong with my voice. But today I look back at it and I say, I laugh at myself. Once again, deep breath in, please. Inhale. And say out loud, I will not take myself too seriously. Please say it out loud. I will not take myself too seriously. As Kobe Bryant used to say, Kobe Bryant, God bless his soul, wonderful human being, he used to say, get over yourself. Get over yourself, which means this: if you are making progress, moving forward, you're going to make mistakes. Your mistakes don't define you. Please understand this. Your failures don't define you. Your embarrassments don't define you. The only way that you can check whether you're on the right direction or not is by moving forward. Do you agree with that? If you don't take a step forward, you will never figure out if you're on the right track or the wrong track. And guess what? If you're lost, if you're not moving forward, even if you're on the road to success, guess what's going to happen? Somebody's going to come from behind and hit you, right? That is what's going to happen. You don't want that to happen. Confused people on the road, dangerous, right? Confused, lost people on a highway who are not moving, who stand still, boom, some vehicle is going to come and hit them. And that's what happens to people in life also. People who have no clarity and the ones who are not moving forward, not taking risks, they end up as a casualty. You don't want that to happen to you, okay? So number one, know what you want to do. Number two, start now, start today, right? And number three is continuously practice course correction. That is number three. Continuously practice course correction. I know you've listened to a few aviation experts, a few pilots. Most of the planes these days are on autopilots. They might have told you. I'm not a pilot myself. I do know this for sure, that due to weather changes and due to turbulence and due to so many other factors, human intervention is required to ensure that the flight is on its original path. I do know this: if a flight is just 1% off its original path, just 1% as it takes off, when it lands, the deviation is going to be major. Take, for example, a flight takes off from Muscat headed for New Delhi and is just 1 degree off as it takes off. It will not land in New Delhi. It'll probably land in Colombo, Sri Lanka, because that 1% difference today, that 1% deviation today, as time progresses, it's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So what you will need to practice in order to experience career success is course correction, is to listen to your inner voice, is to find out, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? What I don't enjoy doing? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How can I use my strengths more? And how can I build up on the areas where I'm weak? And where are my biggest gifts, right? These are the things that will help you, and to press the reset button every now and then. This is me back in Sydney, Australia. The year was 1999. Look at me, my haircut. And 1999, Sydney Hotel School, Australia. I'm a young student of 19. Life is really taking off. I'm enjoying it. My first job was at the Marriott Hotels in Scottsdale, Arizona. I spent a year and a half there almost. And then I spent the next 8 years working with the top hotel companies in the world. That's Grand Hyatt Dubai, Intercontinental Sydney. I spent time with Accor and McDonald Hotels in the UK, 4 years there until 2007. That's when I decided that I needed to press the Control-Alt-Del button of my life. I needed to do course correction because something in me was telling me this is not your original path. You need to make some major changes. And this is what I did. 2007, I packed my bags, I returned back to India, and I decided on being a speaker. I started with what I had. I started where I was, with schools and colleges in my neighborhood. This is one picture of a college in Jalandhar. That is the city I still live in today. I do not live in San Francisco. I do not live in Dubai. I do not live in other of the flashy places or Mumbai or Bangalore that you might imagine. I live in a small town in Punjab. It's called Jalandhar, right? Still, till date. So once again, I tell you, start with what you have. Make the best of what you have available to you. This is when I press the Control-Alt-Del button of my life in 2007, and it has taken me places, and I'm so glad that I did. And this is what I want to tell all of you wonderful people. You can always press the reset button. Take a deep breath in, please. Inhale. And say out loud, I can always press the reset button. I am the captain of my ship. Say it out loud, please. I am the captain of my ship, right? If you feel your ship is not headed in the right direction, don't be afraid to make major course corrections. Listen to your inner voice, please. Learn to say no. Learn to say no. This is where most youngsters go wrong. You do not strengthen this muscle of learning to say no. Learn to say no to the wrong friends. Learn to say no to the wrong habits. Learn to say no to the things that make you experience regret and guilt afterwards. When I talk about the inner GPS, you have a built-in feedback system. If you're doing certain things, you feel regret afterwards, you feel guilty afterwards, that's a great signal that you should stop doing those things. Binge watching Netflix and you end up guilty later on, feeling regret later on, stop doing it. Excessive time on social media, you feel not so good afterwards, stop doing it. Learn to say no. Hanging out with the wrong kind of people and you feel not so good afterwards, stop doing it. You are the captain of your ship. Listen to your inner voice. Have the courage to say no. You don't owe any explanations to anyone. And don't be afraid to start all over again. Inhale, please, deep breath. And say this out loud. I will not be afraid to start all over again. I will never be afraid to start all over again. Whenever in your life you feel you're stuck, understand you still are the captain of your ship, okay? Don't be afraid to start all over again. Number one regret of dying people was this. You're too young to hear this. You're very young to hear this, but there was a book published in Sydney, Australia, a research done on the top 5 regrets of dying people. Number one on the list was, I wish I had the courage to lead a life true to myself. I wish I had the courage to lead a life true to myself. This is what people want, to have the courage to lead a life true to what they want. And here are the ways to do that. Number one, listen to your inner voice. Number 2, learn to say no. And number 3, don't be afraid to start all over again, okay? And understand, please, that it will never be a straight line. From where you are today to where you want to go is no step-by-step manual. Remember, seek inspiration, but not maps. Maps do not exist. And also remember that from where you are today to where you want to go, to where life is going to take you, it's not going to be a straight line. Become comfortable with that, please. Become comfortable with the fact that there's going to be twists and turns and so many unanticipated things happening. But what is important is for you to remember, in the dark, you will only be able to see a few feet ahead. When you're traveling in the night with your headlights on of your car, you can only see a few feet ahead. You with me on this? When it's dark in your life, okay? And when there's a storm coming, some days in your life you will not have the clarity. Some days in your life you'll feel lost and alone. But understand, in the dark, you will only be able to see a few feet ahead. And that's a trick. As you cover the first few feet, the next 10 or 20 feet will be visible to you. Okay, so have faith in your difficult moments in life. Instead of fear, choose faith. Faith will show you the way. In the dark, understand. And you will have dark days. Not every day is going to be bright and sunny. But all I want you to know is that despite it being dark, despite it being challenging, you must keep moving forward. This is a gentleman that I deeply admire. His name is Mr. Fauja Singh. He's the world's oldest marathon runner, ladies and gentlemen, oldest marathon runner at 105. 105. You know, a BBC interviewer asked him, Mr. Singh, you've just started your marathon. Tell us how you feel at the moment. And he started laughing. And he said in Punjabi, Beta, are you asking me how do I feel? My knees hurt. That's how bad I feel. I am 104 years old, son. But now that I've started this marathon, I will finish it. And that is the spirit. Keep moving forward. Despite the challenges, despite the difficulties, and do not be afraid to travel, to pick the road less traveled. In the words of Robert Frost, 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And that has made all the difference. Don't be afraid to take the road less traveled. It could be your defining moment, that one decision that impacts everything else. You don't have to follow the herd. Take a chance. Once you break free from the gravitational pull of your comfort and predictability, there's an exciting world out there full of possibilities. Happy traveling. Don't be afraid to take the road less traveled. It was wonderful spending time with all of you young people here in beautiful Muscat, Oman. I had the opportunity of visiting your beautiful country a few years ago, and also to everybody else who might have tuned in to this live stream. I say again, 3 very simple steps to put your career in the right track. Number 1 is know what you want. Number 2 is to start walking on that path. And number 3 is to practice course correction. Start by figuring out what you want to do. Start by taking action, small steps. Think big, act small. This is what I always say. Think big, act small. You know what the problem with the think big and act big is? It never happens, right? 31st December is just coming across the corner. It's just around the corner. Many people will decide on New Year resolutions. And then second week of January, you're going to forget all about it. So think big, act small. Start with what you have and make continuous course corrections. And this is all that I had for you today. You guys have been a wonderful audience. And now over to the team for any questions that we might have. Thank you so much for your active participation. I see the comments coming up. Sylvia and Reena, Prasant, Madhav, and others. Thank you so much.
That was an extraordinary and inspiring session by you, sir. Your creative and fun-filled session enlightened us and kept each one of us engaged. Now, we would like to request our most honored speaker, Mr. Simerjeet Singh, to kindly answer a few queries put forth by the audience.
Sure.
For this, may I now invite the moderator of the session, Ma'am Monica, to pose some questions to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so very much, Isha. Thank you, sir, for that
My pleasure.
enriching, enlightening session. But there are some questions put forth.
Of course. Of course.
Okay, thank you. The very first goes this way. What are some important questions to ask oneself when facing the choice which career to pursue? So what would you say about it to my students?
I would say, wonderful question. And yes, you should question yourself. Here are a few questions that will help you. Number one is why? Why do I want to do this? What's attracting me to this career choice? What's attracting me to this profession? That's number one. Number two is why not? Sometimes you will believe, oh, this is way out of my reach. I could do it, but, and that is the moment you should ask yourself, why not? Why not me? Why not now? And then the third question is, what if? Young kids are very good at playing the what if scenarios in their mind. And I encourage you to continue doing that, to play more what if scenarios. What if I could first do this and do that? And that's when you will come up with creative answers to figuring out your career path. As I said, there's no linear step-by-step way forward. You will have to question yourself. These three questions will really help you. Why? Why not? What if? Why not me? Why not now? Right? And these questions will really help you. I hear Gurjinder Kaur saying Sat Sri Akal. Sat Sri Akal, thank you so much. Anu says, wonderful session. Thank you. Alina. Yes, ma'am. Over to you.
Yes. Also, as it is an age of uncertainties, challenges, and immense amount of risk, better call it the VUCA world in other terms. What skills does one need to succeed or thrive well in a VUCA world?
The number one skill youngsters need to thrive in a VUCA world is adaptability. Right? So this is what I say to everybody who's tuning in right now. Be flexible, be agile, know what's changing in your environment and change accordingly. Anticipate, not just react to change. Anticipate change. You should develop a sixth sense. These are the things that are changing on the horizon, and I should change before it becomes compulsory. You see, Mrs. Gupta, when it becomes compulsory, everybody changes, right? Then it's a compulsion. There's no other choice. The winners will be the ones who will be able to anticipate change and not just react to it, but be proactive and change themselves beforehand. So when the COVID lockdown started happening, we anticipated that conferences are not going to happen anymore. Live conferences will not happen. That was my main way of reaching out to the masses. And we worked very hard on creating this virtual studio, on getting ready for the virtual world, on creating more YouTube videos, on podcasts, and so many other things. The students will have the link in the chat section, by the way, wherein you can use all these digital resources to continue your learning. Because one single session will not help you figure out what you really want to do. You will need to continue your learning. So 2 or 3 skills in a precise answer to your question, how to succeed in a VUCA world. Number 1 is adaptability and flexibility. Number 2 is being a lifelong learner. It is now more important than ever before to be a lifelong learner. It is not about getting good grades in school, guys. Throw that out of the window. It's not about memorization anymore. Stop memorizing. Throw away the scripts. Throw away all that you've memorized and be critical thinkers, be original thinkers, be in the moment, be dynamic, be creative. So to sum up, agility, lifelong learning, and innovation, creativity and innovation. These are the 3 skills that will be like the entry criteria for success in a VUCA world.
Absolutely, I agree to it. One more coming up. The world, you see, is right now going through a tremendous upheaval. Every day we learn more about the science of this global crisis. But what about its impact on a human soul? How can you guide and show us the light at the end of this COVID tunnel?
See, the human soul has become lonely, right? During this entire pandemic, during this entire lockdowns and all of the things, the human soul has become lonely. And we need to remember that technology will not make us happy. You know, seeing each other's faces on Zoom or WhatsApp, on Instagram, these digital worlds are enablers, they are additions. They cannot replace a good conversation over coffee with a good friend. So in order to retain your spark, one is everybody should drink a lot of water.
Yes.
Two is find time for human connection. More that this is the very important thing. Find time to spend with your friends. Find time to spend with nature. Find time to spend with parents, grandparents. They may not be around, for that long, and that's when you're going to miss them. This is my message, especially to youngsters, grandparents. If you have the privilege of, being around them, spend time with them, please. Even they're feeling lonely. They need company. You'll have loads to learn, and make the best use of this opportunity right now. So for the human soul to be vibrant once again, we need to get the human connection back in. Let's not assume that technology will take care of all of our problems. Ma'am, one another question just popped up in the window. I'd like to take that up. By Bindu John is, students are forced into careers due to parental pressure. What is your say on this? To parents, I will say, the biggest burden that your child can ever carry is the burden of your unfulfilled dreams. If you could not fulfill that dream, please don't force it on your child to do so. Okay? The biggest burden any child will ever carry is the burden of the unfulfilled dreams of the parents. So I think counselors, school counselors, teachers, coaches, everybody, we all need to step in, help parents understand that you've lived your life and you lived it in a certain way. The world has changed, and now there are so many new options available. Let this child explore. Or share with them this poem of Khalil Gibran, who said, your children are not your children. Parents will not like me for this. Your children are not your children. Your children are the sons and daughters of life itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. They belong to life itself, right? So allow them to flourish and grow and fly and figure out what they can do, rather than forcing certain options on them. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a hard truth, but yes, a fact indeed.
Mm-hmm.
One personal question, sir. What is your career's favorite aspect as a motivational
I thought it was going to
speaker?
be about my age. It's highly searched on Google, Simerjeet Singh age. The first one actually is Simerjeet Singh wife. A lot of people are interested in knowing who am I married to. No, but jokes apart. Sorry, what was the question again? I beg your pardon.
I'll come again. What is your career's favorite aspect, sir?
Oh, this right now, what we are having. I was in a live in-person presentation a couple of days back with senior general managers of a company, and I'm on this virtual platform today with young students. The most enjoyable aspects of my profession are this. Number one, interacting. It's never the same. One day, there is no set pattern. We were in an in-person presentation in Gurgaon in the Delhi area a couple of days back. We are here in the studio today. So me and my team, we really had to change gears. We really had to change our mindset. As that place, people were sitting right in front of us. And this here, you're on our screens right now. So the unpredictability, it challenges us to bring our best. It allows us to ensure that we're not bored, me and my team, and everybody has a hard time keeping up with all these new ideas that I keep coming up with. So the best part is interacting with people and knowing that someone somewhere is having a aha moment right now, saying, aha, that thing that he said, it's really for me. And I got my answer. Even if one person listening right now got their answer today, I'm a happy man, right? So that's what keeps me going.
Okay. So just to wrap up, and my final question, what would you say is the most difficult part of being a motivational speaker? Many are inspired by you, but then yes, if somebody else thinks to be a motivational speaker, how would you just relate it to your experience and the difficult part of being it?
See, the difficult part is staying authentic. The difficult part is by understanding that no one's perfect, not even me. The difficult part is to help help other people, to give them the time and space until they open up, until they become ready. Because you cannot force anyone to grow against their choice. You'll have that one or two people in the audience every now and then who, with their arms folded, will say, "Oh, Mr. Speaker, try and motivate me, try me," or it's not going to work, right? So it's just like they say, it's very difficult to hypnotize you if you're not ready to be hypnotized. Or, for example, you go to watch live comedy and a stand-up comedy show, but you've made a decision outside. I am not going to laugh. Nothing that this guy says or this girl says is going to make me laugh. And there you go. You'll spend 45 minutes in there, but you will not laugh. So the Buddhists say, they have a wonderful philosophy. It says, when the student is ready, the teacher emerges. The Zen philosophy. When the student is ready, the teacher emerges. Is to remind myself as a coach that not everyone is ready right now. And it's not about me. When they're rejecting something, when they're rejecting an opportunity to grow, when they're rejecting an opportunity to evolve, it's not about me. Sometimes I take it personally, but I have to train myself to not take it personally, to understand that they're probably not ready yet. Once they're ready, they will take charge of their lives and their whole life will change accordingly. So then they will find the resources. So yes, and I think the best place to dig for inspiration is in our own life. To every youngster who's watching right now, who wants to develop their persuasion skills or influencing skills, look at your own life and look at the stories from your own life. And that will be your most powerful material ever to share with others.
Okay. I personally believe that the audience must have been fueled and empowered by your very powerful deliberations and very apt answers and suggestions as well. Thanks a lot. And
My pleasure indeed.
It's over to the student compeers to carry on.
My pleasure. Students can keep in touch by scanning this QR code and also by using a link which my team has shared in the comments section. I just take a moment to acknowledge the comments. Arvinda Bagga, Anupama, and Beena Joshi, Steve Matthew, Sheena Chandy, Anu Annie Matthews, Gemma, Rinaz, Anissa, and everybody was very active in the chat. You made the session very lively. And once again, a huge round of applause for the team at Al-Wadi Al-Kabir School in Muscat, Oman. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes to pull this off flawlessly, and that you have done. You've pulled it off flawlessly.
So over to the compeers now.
Thank you, sir, for all your support and guidance given to the large audience by attending to their concerns so patiently during the course of the discussion. As we draw to an end of this enriching session, I deem it my great privilege to propose the word of thanks. Let me first express my profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and his country. We extend a heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr.Simerjeet Singh, for all his words of motivation. Thank you, sir. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman, and other honorary directors on the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. Thank you for your encouraging presence and guidance. A heartfelt thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, Honorary President, Indian School Management Committees, and other members of the Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir Management Committee for their profound encouragement at all times. A heartfelt thanks goes to our platinum sponsor, StudyCo, our gold sponsors, Chain Group of Institutions, Vellore Institute of Technology, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, Grey Matters Academics, and our bronze sponsors, Middle East College Oman, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, MIT World Peace University Pune, and Dallas Baptist University. A sincere gratitude to our digital marketing partner, Spectrum, and our media partner, the Arabian Stories, and our valued donors.
I also wish to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our prudent captain of the ship, Mr. D.N. Rao, Principal ISWK, Honorable Principals of the School of MENA Regions, Indian Schools in Oman, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity for their support and guidance. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session a grand success. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. Thank you to the ISWK team for making this session of Avenir 2021 possible.
Don't be wrong. Walk the path of righteousness so that every time you're guilty, it is not for doing the wrong, but for not doing the good. With these uplifting words, I, Asin, and
I, Ishan,
wish you all a glorious day ahead. But before we sign off, let me remind you of the upcoming sessions. From 10:45 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. with Torrance University by Ms. Maria Duarte, we have a presentation by Middle East College Oman. And from 10:45 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we have a presentation by Dr. Hayal Koksal on the topic Building Bridges for Career Development. The audience can view further sessions on Avenir website, www.avenuroman.com. See you all during the next session. Stay tuned and stay safe.
Linktree.